In the small town of St Andrews lies a marvel of book creation. This unfinished Frankenstein between two manuscripts shows the steps needed to create the wonder-filled illustrations, but also the cultural beliefs of the people who created these images.
To a modern European viewer, this book just seems strange, even from its opening.
Ah, yes, I see you've noticed that the book opens from what I would consider the back. This is part of the Perso-Islamic tradition, where lines are also read from right to left. In this way, the whole book is essentially flipped. As we flip through the Book of Wonders, you may notice a few peculiar things. Notice how several pages have inserted leaflets. These sheets are part of the conservation of this fantastical book.
I noticed how much of the page is taken up by pictures. The images are the focus of most of the pages.
That's correct. The Book of Wonders is like an encyclopedia with depictions and entries. This makes it perfect for examining the folklore and beliefs of the people who made it.
One last thing before we dive in. Do we know who exactly made the Book of Wonders?
We do not, but there are a few things we can piece together. Both manuscripts that are sewn together and now known as the Book of Wonders were made in the same workshop, and we can assume the book was made or kept in India, from the flyleaf pages being eaten through by woodworms. The first record of the existence of this manuscript is with the British East India Company, so we do know how it came to be in St Andrews.
Wow! It sounds like the book has its own fascinating history before we get into all the fantastical depictions inside it. Speaking of wonderful depictions, you had a page you wanted to show me, right?
Ah yes, a great place to start in our discussion of depictions of folklore would be the island of djinn. This island is a great place to begin our discussion of these fabled beasts. Jinns are best known in modern times from depictions like Aladdin, where they're tricksters that grant wishes. However, the mythology is much deeper than that. The term jinn in Arabic is derived from to conceal, and are often associated with the natural world. Here they're depicted as very human-like, enjoying a nice afternoon with others. Jinn, much like humans, are presented with the choice to follow Allah or not.
So jinn are part of the Islamic tradition?
Very much so. Evil jinn are said to manipulate humans into straying from God, while good jinn may protect humans from tragedy or otherwise bestow blessings.
But where do jinn live? I don't think I've ever seen one before.
The general belief is that they live far away from humans in the ocean, with people from the east generally believing that jinn can be found in the west, and people in the west believing the jinn can be found in the east. Their location is less important, however, than their interpersonal relationships. Here we can see a society of human-animal hybrid jinn. Their mannerisms are distinctly human, and their interactions seem familiar to us. This is not the case with every type of jinn, however.
These seem like they could be good jinn. Does the Book of Wonders have examples of evil jinn as well?
Very much so. Here we see a representation of a ghula, a very vicious and highly intelligent type of jinn. These jinn present themselves as human-shaped fish with female features. They lure men into the water to drown them.
Like other folkloric species, like sirens or even mermaids, these jinn seem like they could be vicious. Were all of the jinn so indirect with their evil actions?
Some jinns, like the ghula, go for more indirect action, but other jinn are perfectly happy to attack humans directly. Depicted here as a human-faced snake, human-animal hybrids are often how jinn are depicted. Unlike the island we just saw, This djinn is happily attacking the human that is depicted.
So why would this djinn be attacking?
This can be for evil means, or the conducting of divine punishment from Allah himself. The jinn could be punishing the human for its own enjoyment, or punishing the human from straying too far from their town into the desert. The jinn live in their own world, their own plane of existence, but can enter our world and act within it.
Do all jinn interact with humans?
Not every creature that could be described as a jinn is seen interacting with humans or emulating them. One example is that of the flying fish. This creature is seen multiple times across the Book of Wonders, and across the Wonders genre as a whole. The flying fish has a natural known enemy known as Abnus. These were both seen as nature spirits or fantastical creatures much like the jinn.
It seems like it's uncertain if this depiction is a jinn or not.
The definition of what is and is not a jinn was constantly changing. They began as an explanation of natural forces and morphed into nature entities. Their final evolution, when Islamic thought incorporated them, were as unseen spirits that could affect the human world. Many depictions of the nature spirit creatures remained in lore, and the flying fish as well as the Abnus could have been jinn at one point and fabled sea creatures at another.
So beliefs were varied across time periods, religious movements, and locations. It seems like folklore is never black or white.
Some folkloric stories can be closer than representations of jinn, such as this pictorial story here.
Wow, this one looks like a huge bird trying to sink a ship.
Precisely. This huge bird was known as a roc, and incidentally enough was known for using giant boulders to defend its territory. These poor sailors have stumbled upon the territory of the roc and are going to learn a valuable lesson.
I love the animated expressions on the people about to be hit by that giant boulder. One even has his face upside down. So, is a roc a jinn?
Not quite. Jinn and wonderful natural creatures did have some distinction. Jinn often incorporated human and animalistic elements. They have more distinctive features, where this animal is just
an enlarged version of an already existing animal! This is a folkloric story in pictures, not a depiction of jinn.
That is it. These depictions of wondrous creatures and visualizations of jinn, when compared with other similar books of wonders, can be used to understand the cultural beliefs of the people who make these books. And through visual comparisons, one can develop an understanding of the themes presented within the wonders genre.
So I would assume that preserving the examples we have is particularly important. You've shown me the sheets between each page, but what do they do exactly?
These protective sheets are used to reduce the friction between the images while turning pages or changing the orientation of the book. Because the paint is a slightly raised surface and can vary in thickness between colours, the paint can cause the other side to chip or wear down the paint from friction. It's important, as demonstrated here, for the insert pages to not be creased. These creases can hurt the structural integrity of the book overall, and may not seem like much additional bulk, but quickly adds up when care is not taken.
So the leaflets between each page protect the book from itself? Are there any other considerations?
Other conservation efforts of this book include keeping the manuscript in a temperature and humidity-controlled location, opening it with spatulas instead of fingers, and replacing the leaflets carefully and precisely.
So we can protect this book by touching the pages as little as possible, protecting the images from themselves, and keeping the conditions around the book stable. These are major methods of conservation.
Exactly. Manuscripts like these can only be preserved by careful consideration and methodology. Because of the fragility of manuscripts like these, their care is of utmost importance, especially with manuscripts such as the Book of Wonders, where the manuscript itself raises more questions than it currently provides answers.
Further research is necessary to fully unpack this wondrous and mysterious manuscript. Only with careful consideration of the folklore within it, the difference between wondrous creatures and jinn, and further study can we solve the mystery that is the Book of Wonders.
Thank you for joining us for a brief overview of the depictions of folklore, jinn, and conservation of the Book of Wonders. For further research, see the bibliography at the end of the video.
A special thanks to St. Andrew's Special Collections, with extra shout-outs to Maya, who first introduced me to the Book of Wonders, Meredith, who found me outside when I was lost and was always willing to talk about the bookmaking process, and Erica for her hands, humor, and expertise in conservation. An extra special thanks also to Eric Priest for recording voice lines.